Hello everyone, Mollusk here, and welcome to the Easter special! The Dark Elves and the Beastmen have been lured to this spot by the tales of giant chocolate eggs. And they're not going to be disappointed. There are 6 Cadbury's mini eggs dotted around this map, and each are worth 100 victory points. And you collect them simply by running your units over them, nothing too complicated. So here we go, my first 2,500 point game. Let's see what Lord Tremendous is going on about. The Dark Elves have decided to deploy on the southern table half. To the east, we have a Reaper Bolt Thrower and some Dark Riders. We never found out what that wood is. That building is just an empty normal building, and that wall is a blazing barricade. In my opponent's centre from the east, he has 2 Reaper Bolt Throwers, a Hydra, a Witch Elf unit, I think 22 women with the Cauldron of Blood and Helleron, then a unit of Dark Shards, looks like 20, then a big unit of Corsairs with a level 4 Sorcerer, because this list is all about gender equality, and then west of the centre is the unit of Cold One Knights, which you can also see here on the west flank. And so we have another unit of Dark Riders and another Reaper crossbow, or whatever it is, bolt thrower. This is going to be brutal, ladies and gentlemen. And you can see those white things there are the Cadbury's mini eggs, which are our objectives. This is an opponent's eye view of my side of the table. So on the west flank we have a Razorgore, and we have a unit of Minotaurs, double hand weapons. On the other side of the river is my Doomball with his magic carpet, inspired by Reef the Beastman. Then we have another Razorgore. Then in my centre we have a unit of 30 Gore with my Battle Standard Bearer, a War Gore Hero, and my General, who's a level 4 Bray Shaman of Beasts. The handsome figure with the big rock behind them is my Cygor, and you can see my level 1 Bray Shaman dancing around his Herdstone there to the edge of the picture. There's a better picture of the Herdstone. Next to them is my Centaur unit with Goros. Next to them is a Tuskor Chariot, and then 2 units of Harpies, which I'm using Dryad models for. I'm going to put, what are they called, Gargoyle wings on them, but I haven't got around to it yet. After the deployment, the Dark Riders didn't really vanguard very much, and I deployed my Goat in the Shell Bray Shaman with the Skin of Man in the larger building on the east flank, because I found one of the first problems with it is that it's really hard to find a place to put it in cover. So my basic plan for this game is that my Harpies on the left are just going to go and tie up his flank, and then dart inwards to take out the 2 war machines in the middle. The Skin of Man Shaman is going to try to snipe the war machines with death magic and possibly try to snipe out Helleron if I can get him in range. And everyone else is just going to pile forward, collect some eggs, and my Doomball is going to try to get round into the flanks of his nice juicy looking elf units. And that's about it. The Dark Elves win the first turn, and my opponent treats us to his trademark movement phase. The Hydra shuffles up a bit, and I think there's gold ones do as well. He's a dwarf player at heart, this guy. In the magic phase, he gets off the Earth Blood or the regen roll on his Corsairs, and I let him have it. And then he casts Flesh to Stone on the Witch Elves, and I think I tried to dispel but fail. In shooting, the Dark Riders put a wound on the Razorgore, and I'm not happy about that. And I think the other Dark Riders put a couple of one wound on a Harpy, or take a Harpy off anyway. I'm not happy about that. One of the Reaper Bolt Throwers targets my new chariot, my spanking new Chaos pretending to be a Tuskor Chariot, and because it gets all its rerolls even at range from the Cauldron of Blood, kills it in 1, and I am not happy about that. Especially as now it makes that egg awkward to get. For shits and giggles, another of the Reaper Bolt Throwers wipes out, I think actually only kills 1 Harpy, but then they run away and run off the board. Not happy. Well, that could have gone better, and so, seeing their friends pincushioned, the Beastmen surge forwards. The harpies to the left of this picture, to the east, flap over the white stone you can see there, which was actually a charnel pit, and collected one of the eggs. Goros and his chums, who are suffering a hangover from hell, stumble around and pick up the egg that the chariot was going to get, and so haven't moved very far, as you can see. The Razorgore there by the river has moved up to divert the Cold War Knight's charge, and my Doom Bull has flown up into the river, past his dangerous terrain chest, and found that it's like that poisonous ooze, which gives poison attacks and makes everyone take dangerous terrain chests. I think I roll up something like a 5 dice magic phase, but with all my channeling and my herdstone, I bumped that up. I think it was about 8, which was quite nice. My Death Mage with the Skin of Man in the building boosted that Lanef spell and targeted the rearmost Reaper Bolt Thrower in his centre and did 1 wound. Oh well, things are going to get better, that's fine. I cast Wissen's Wild Form on Horus's, or what's his name, Goros's Centaurs, as I figure they're going to take some punishment next turn, and my opponent let me have it. And then I cast Curse of Unrahir on the Cold Ones, and my opponent failed to dispel it. So that's all pretty good. Good magic phase. In shooting, the Cygor hurled his rock at the Cauldron of Blood and completely missed. Oh, I think I forgot to mention that the big unit of Gore also picked up an egg on their way forwards. Moving into the Dark Elf turn, the Cold One Knights charge the Razorgore by the river, and the Dark Rider surprised me by charging the Razorgore on my, I think it's on that westmost flank. In the rest of movement, there's really not a lot. The Hydra moves across towards the Harpies, and then in the magic phase, Goros' unit takes a Dwellers Below, and they lose 1 Centaur thanks to their increased strength from Wissen's Wild Form. In the shooting phase, yep, Flaming Hydra Breath will do that to Harpies, and so my remaining Bird Woman runs for the hills. The shooting phase continues, and I think we lose some Gore to some Crossbowmen, and then they take out some more with their Bolt Throwers, or whatever they're firing at us, and I think we passed our panic, well, we must have passed our panic check, which is more than can be said for Goros. When he gets Reaper Bolt Throwed and another Centaur dies, they decide to pack it in and head for the hills. This guy just can't pass a leadership check. It's very, very upsetting. In combat, the Dark Riders somehow do a wound to my pig dog, and I do a wound back, but since he's got Musician, I lose combat, and I fail and run away. He chooses not to pursue though, because he fears running into the Minotaurs. And yeah, that could have gone better. What's this? Oh yeah, so the Cold Ones kill the Razorgore, no problem. Although he did manage to actually take down 2, I think, with his attacks, so that's much better than I expected. So I can't complain there. Oh, I should also report that my Doom Bull took a wound from one of the Bolt Throwers during the shooting phase. However, thanks to the Razorgore being destroyed, he also failed his panic test and ran away, which was just excellent. So at this point in the game, my heart is starting to sink a bit, and I'm putting on my elf-hating hat. So we go into my turn, and it's no more Mr. Nice Goat. Obviously my Harpy and my Razorgore fail to rally, but thankfully my Doom Bull and Goros, they do rally. And my Minotaurs and my Gore units declare a charge into the, what are they called? Cold War Knights. And would you believe it, both of them make it, although my Minotaur takes a dangerous terrain wound from the river. And at this point I see the light at the end of the tunnel. If I can just destroy these guys and overrun, I can get into a bit of a blind spot there, right in his flank, and really close the gap. And not have to take tremendous amounts of Reaper for boat fire for too much longer. I've just got to kill 3 Dark Elves with about 900 points of Beastmen. You know it's bad when you're not feeling too confident, even with these odds. The magic phase is a bit lackluster, I think. I miscast the Laneth spell again with my Death Mage, which finally did kill the Bolt Thrower crew by quite a lot, but then he sucked himself down the hole, which I was not so sad about, considering it meant I didn't suck the rest of my dice down the hole. But I can't really remember if I got any other spells off. So yeah, well done Goat in the Shell, you netted me a 70-point War Machine. In shooting, my Cygor drops a rock on its head. So to the main combat. Those are my Minotaur's attacks to hit, needing 4s. That 6 in the pile to the left is probably been knocked. Yeah, good stuff. Seriously, Dice Gods, seriously. I think from this we kill one of the cold ones. I think they might have done a wound on my Minotaurs, but then luckily, thankfully, my BSB and my Wargore hero step up and kill the last 2 of them. He was a bit unlucky with his armor saves, and basically those 3 elves could have very easily just have stood and taken that. I hate elves so much, but at least they're dead. And now we need to overrun. And we get just what I need, and finally the game is starting to look up. In the Dark Elves' turn, the Dark Riders fail a charge against the Razorgore. With a black hole to the warp opening up inside that building, the Dark Riders on the other flank just saunter around, taking pictures, and generally giggling themselves silly because they can reform so many times. You can see the Hydra's moved up to be a pain in the arse, although I'm not really actually quite like where he is, and the crossbowmen at the back reform just to get a better range of shooting at the Gore horde. In the shooting phase, you can see my level 1 around the Gore, around the Herdstone has bitten another Reaper Bolt, and I think otherwise we get off fairly lightly from this shooting phase. I also don't think there was anything particular to note in the magic phase. I think he got his flesh to stone off on the Witch Elves again. That's about it, I think. Yes, other than that, I don't think he does anything. I think he missed with his single bolt thrower shot at my Doomball. Oh, and just going back to this picture, you can see the Corsair unit hasn't moved, and that's because actually I think I got Curse of Anra here off on them last turn, and so that's why they haven't moved. So maybe not so bad a magic phase as I thought. In my turn, I've been given a chance to get back in the game, and I'm taking it. Goros and his boys pass a leadership check for once, passing their terror test and charge the Hydra, and I like his monster killing abilities with his big club. The Minotaurs go bellowing into the Corsairs, and the Gore unit charge the Dark Shards. And perhaps you can see what my plan is here. In the movement phase, I think my Cygor just moves up a little bit. I want to be able to charge Witch Elves in the flank, or at least threaten to, or maybe lure them off in the long charge if I can. But the important thing is my Doomball has just nipped in behind the Dark Shards to basically ensure that anything that breaks from combat goes off the table. And there's a closer look at those clashing lines. In the magic phase, I get off Whiston's Wild Form on the Minotaurs, and I'm really happy about that. In the shooting phase, my Cygor drops another rock on its head, and I'm not happy about that. Seriously, this guy has done nothing all game. The enemy wizard doesn't even care about being in 24 inches of his Soul Eater rule. Yeah, I love the Cygor, but it's a difficult love. In combat, the Goros whiffs his attacks and only does 2 wounds. The 2 Centaur, striking simultaneously with the Hydra, do another 2 wounds, but in the end the monster just eats them all and reforms with 1 wound remaining. Poor Goros. And with his death, we get Primal Fury rerolls on select units. Unfortunately, those units is pretty much just my Gore unit with the reroll from the Standard Bearer already, so pretty useless. Combat. The Corsairs, of course, go first and reroll all the hits and reroll all the wounds because of the blooming cauldron and the fact that they've got pointy ears, and kill a Minotaur and wound some other Minotaurs. But in the end, we butcher them from having gotten Frenzy and an extra combat bonus from Bloodgreed in the previous round, and charge headlong into the Dark Shards, which is exactly what they needed to do. Well done, Minotaurs. I think the Corsairs broke from combat and had to bounce off the table, which was brilliant, because that's also a goodbye to his level 4. And then in the next round, we butcher the Dark Shards literally to a man. There was one guy left, and he ran, I think, Snake Eyes, which was still enough to take him off the board. And my Minotaurs overran a pathetic amount, and my Gore reformed to face the Witch Elf flank. So we're back in the game, and it's getting exciting. The Witch Elves charge my Cygor, and they make it, and he flees, and they catch him. Which, to be honest, they would have murderized him anyway, so, they might, he might have got away, they might have failed, I might have been able to charge them in the rear, but it wasn't to be. And I think he just moves his Hydra up there to prevent me from rear charging them, should I be able to make that. And so we've essentially swapped sides. You can see the Dark Riders have moved around. I think in his shooting phase he was very unlucky and missed the lined up Minotaurs there. I think he killed one Gore with his Reaper Bolt Thrower from the west, and pretty much didn't do anything else. So that was very nice. And with no magic or combat, we go into the Beastmen's turn. With the Witch Elves far out of range now, the Doom Ball charges the Reaper Bolt Thrower by the wall. The War Gore hero, with just the heavy weapon and that's it, marched out of the Gore unit across the river, daring in a daring charge towards the Reaper Bolt Thrower on the other side. The Minotaurs just turned round and the Gore shuffled up, waiting for the Minotaurs to get in position to support them. In the magic phase, I think I got really quite a big one, and I cast Amber Spear at the Hydra. The boosted version, it went off, he couldn't stop it, and I rolled a 1 to wound. I think I said a rather naughty word at this point, because, oh my goodness, that thing is now back up to full wounds because of its regeneration. And yeah, oh my goodness me, don't roll a 1, eh? I then proceed to cast Curse of Anrahir on the Witch Elves, so that they'll, that's quite nice. It'll make turning round for them a risk, and if they don't, well, he will, but that's pretty nice. And I get it off with a Irresistible Force miscast, and I lose a wizard level and suck all the rest of my dice down the hole, which is a shame because I wanted to get off a Wizard's Wild Form. Oh well. I probably shouldn't have to mention that my Doom Ball killed the Reaper Bolt Thrower crew and ran on behind the wall, but it's me rolling these dice, so I probably should mention that. Nothing's given. In his turn, he, I think, moved the Witch Elves around. They took 4 or 5 casualties from Curse of Anrahir, which is great, including, I think Helebron also took a wound, which was very nice. Thank you. And I think the Hydra moved forward into the gap in between those units, just basically chaffing me up and flaming a couple of Gore down. Unfortunately, my War Gore tried to be a hero. He got 2 shots through, and obviously I got no armor save from that, and my War Gore died. Very sad times, but it was a glorious charge, and glorious charges don't always work. And it seems my Doom Ball was taking notes. He needed a charge range of 8 with 3 dice to get into the Dark Riders that had moved up nearby the Witch Elves. Sigh. So he moves up a tiny little bit. I think you can see that my Minotaurs have moved forwards a little bit. That's where the Hydra has been sat, and I've just moved up against toward the Hydra, not charging it, because I figure I might need some support there. This is also, I think this picture was actually taken in his go, where he's just moved his Dark Riders up a little bit. Also hasn't declared a charge with the Hydra, because he just wants to sit back and flame. Basically, his strategy here was to conserve points, and since he's got so much shooting left, he really doesn't need to do anything else. So basically the Dark Riders, both remaining Reaper Bolt Throwers and the Hydra, all shot into my Gore unit in an effort to try to make them run away. Now luckily I had got Wisson's Wild Form off in my previous magic phase, and yeah, the Hydra still takes out 4 or 5 of them. Although I can't really complain, because I think he maybe did 1 more kill with all the rest of his shooting combined, and then I passed my leadership check, which was amazing. So, in the Beastmen's final turn, we charge the Hydra with all we have, and my Minotaurs do me proud by failing their fear check, and so hitting on 6s. So I think they have 8 attacks each by this point in the game, and they fail their fear test. To be honest, I'm still mad about failing with the Amber Spear, yeah, I'm going to get to that rage a little bit later. And my Doom Ball can't really charge anything, so he just moves up to look at the sexy ladies with the bikini and the blood pool, because he's got magic carpet, and why wouldn't you? In combat, I think the Gores put a wound on the Hydra. The Hydra puts a wound on the Minotaurs because he flubs his attacks, and my Minotaurs flub their 24 attacks, which need 6s to hit. And so we win by combat res. The Hydra runs quite pathetic amount. My opponent was a bit unlucky there, and we catch him and kill him with the Gore Herd, because the Minotaurs can't run for toffee. And there it is, the end of the game. Woo! What a brilliant game. So hard fought. So close. My opponent is always a pleasure to play. He puts up with my elf bitching so well. And it made for a really great Easter special. I'm not super happy with my list. It's mostly based on the models I've got, and it's built around trying to get the Ghost in the Shell to work. I'm a little bit disappointed in his performance. He should have got 2 War Machines, which would have made his points back. And he did take out, or soak up a turn of shooting from a Reaper Bolt Thrower and the Dark Riders. So that was fairly good. But a bit more practice needed, I think. I mean, I just forgot about the Power Stone the whole game. The Minotaurs, on the other hand, really shone. It just goes to show what they can be capable of if they can get into some little units first. Very disappointed in the Harpies. Might seriously consider not taking them in future. And I feel I definitely could have used the Doom Ball better, as he was just flying around all game, not really doing a huge amount. Would have been nice to get him into the War Machines as well earlier. My opponent and I spoke a little bit afterwards, and he regretted not getting the Witch Elves into the game more. And I can see why after talking to him, because I had no idea that this unit was quite as brutal as it is. We did a mock fight with them in the Doom Ball, and Hellebrand just kicked his ass. She's a monster. Normally I'd think that putting in the 1-up save with the Ramhorn helmet in against low strength, lots of attacks units like witches would be a good thing, but with her in there it's just an exercise in wasting points. I'm not really sure what the Beastmen have that could take that unit one-on-one. I mean, my 40-man unit of Bestigor, I think, could, draw with it for a turn if the champion challenged out Hellebrand, but I think then thereafter we just get worn down. It's that cauldron that just gives them so many rerolls for everything, and even at range, and it's just crazy. I'd be embarrassed to play Elves, I really would be. I can only think that you'd multi-charge this unit with Bestigor and something else, like a Gore unit or something like that. Yeah, it's just crazy. But enough of that, let's get to the scores. Whew, a draw. And thanks to all the egg guzzling I did, one that's ever so slightly in my favour, which is always nice. Yep, a hard-fought game on this Easter's Eve. It was really fun playing with those objectives, especially since we got to eat them along the way. And I think we'll definitely do some more games like this in future. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching this, even a smidgen of the amount that I did getting to play it. And I wish you a happy Easter, or whatever excuse for a celebration you're using. Take care.